What's up YouTube? Opto Info back with another weekly video. This one is another one on optics, specifically about the phenomenon known as total internal reflection. It was a request from a medical student who was following me in clinic one day. If you're a resident, you definitely are already familiar with this, so you can skip forward to the fancy laser demonstration. Otherwise, stay tuned. So first you have to understand what light is before you can understand how total internal reflection works. So light is visible light is a small part of the electromagnetic radiation spectrum. And so what is that? Well, let's say we have some light going from left to right across my board here in this direction. And I'm drawing the propagating electric field, and that generates a simultaneous magnetic field that's perpendicular to it. What does that mean? I don't pretend to know what that means. But the point is that it spends some of its time up here and some of its time down here. So it's on both sides of the x-axis. So you can imagine if it strikes a lens, let's say, that's denser or thicker, or has a higher refractive index than air, then this part down here is going to strike it first and slow down first, whereas this one's going to keep going. This part's going to keep going at the original speed and is going to make it to this line first. So as a result, when they both are in the denser material, it's going to have changed the direction. So Dr. David Hunter, he does a lecture on this in his review of optics. I'll link that in the description below. And he likened it to something a little bit more simple. If you just imagine a line of soldiers that are marching through the beach. And they hit the water at an angle. You can imagine as they're going this direction, this guy here is going to hit the water. This is our water here. He's going to hit the water way before this guy. So this guy is going to be trudging through the water while this guy's flying on the sidewalk or the sand or whatever. And so he's going to make it to this point way before this guy. And as a result, when they're both in the water, both going the same speed, they're going to be traveling at an angle now. So they've been turned, the whole marching line has been turned into the water. Sort of the same thing happens when, I feel like the same thing happens when you hit a puddle. If you're on the street and the right side of your car hits a huge puddle, the wheel sort of gets jerked into it. I don't know, it's probably not the same thing, but this is what it makes me think of. So how does that apply to the ophthalmology? Well, in the eye, when you want to check out the angle where the iris and the cornea sort of come together, you can't do it because light doesn't escape the eye. So let me give you a drawing of that. I think I can make this work. All right, we need an eyeball. That'll do. We need some iris. We got our pupil in the middle there. The eye is looking in that direction. We need a cornea. And this is our light. So we can imagine that the ray of light is reflecting off the iris here, going through the cornea and tear film and exiting the eye so that we can see it. And even in the far periphery, we can see that light from the iris is making it out of the eyeball. But as we get to the angle here, boom, it's totally internally reflected, okay? And so what's going on here? Turning this off for a second, the light's coming from this angle, hitting, and in this case, these are the line of soldiers you can imagine them marching out of the water onto the beach, and this guy here is going to exit the tear film or the beach in our analogy and quickly make up ground before this guy on the far end ever even makes it out of the tear film. So as a result, the whole line of soldiers are marching back into the eye So the light never escapes, and we can never see what this angle looks like. So what do? We replace that interface between the tear film and the thin air with a medium that is of similar density. So it's like walking out of the beach and into another beach, into a bayou or a lake or whatever, so that there's no discrepancy where the guys turn one way or the other. So then here's a Gonia lens. It's got mirrors on one side and then a contact lens on the other side. The lens comes into contact with the front part of the eyeball, so that these guys keep marching, no problem. Then they hit the mirror here, bounce off that, and then exit the lens at a much milder angle. So if they exit at this angle right here, that's a lot less steep than this angle here. And so the degree to which this guy is going to cover ground compared to this guy, it's a much smaller difference compared to when they're exiting at such a steep angle. So let's just see if we can do a laser demo of that. Put the cornea back on there. We've got our total internal reflection. Here's our representative gonio lens. Put that on the eyeball. You notice it's not working. That's because there's a little sliver of air in between the two lenses. So if I let's see if this will work. Put a little water in the two. Sort of marry the lenses, if you will. Boom. And the light escapes the eye here, okay? And it strikes the mirror. The mirror angles it back towards our eye. We can examine the angle and manage our glaucoma accordingly. So, hope that was informative. I've got some more videos coming with this fancy light ray laser box thing, so stay tuned for that. Peace.